Hello, good morning, and welcome to another episode of Coffee with Den. My name is Dave. This is episode 4. We're going to be talking about governance this morning. How are you? I try to talk kind of soft in the mornings because I don't know what time it is there. My friend John was telling me that uh, it's about 6 a.m. his time whenever I roll this. So if anybody's laying in bed trying to wake up, get up, go get some coffee. Let's talk about real life because that's what's on Den. All right, so today is Wednesday, and I've got coffee, and I got a whole list of things to talk about. Coffee cup, one of my favorites. My wife got it for me. She's German, and I don't know if this is going to show up backwards or not, but it says if you don't have anything nice to say it in German. Kind of a play on words on the old, if you don't have nothing nice to say, don't say anything at all. Same coffee as last week. I've got like 3 bags of it, so I don't know what I'm going to have to do to rotate in some more brands to review coffee-wise, but I want to get some of that Doge coffee eventually, but I got this to go through. Anyway, before we jump right into talking about what is on the agenda, I'll try to speak up a little bit, but still be soft. Let's see who's chimed in to the comments. I try to go through and tip out everyone who has left some sort of reply or some sort of topic that I can talk about this morning. And if I have something to say, I'll try to respond to it as well. I went through and responded to a few of these last night, my time. And after this live stream this morning, I'll go through and see who I missed and see what else is in there. So let's see what we've got. Good morning, Crucibles. And we'll get through all these questions in two. I just want to see who's here or who had input. MB Crypto, what's up? Thanks for being a recurring. Good morning. I can't think yet. A recurring input provider. I was looking for a different word, but I'll go with that. What's up, Dragon Zach? Good morning. Modazi, Elon Tusk, Tahir. Crypto King is here. Hello, good morning. Jessica Skolton. Rockstar. Always good to see you around, Rockstar. Thanks for doing your thing. Slavin 1209, 12teen. Hello, good morning. Darox. Darox has got a long question. Oh, it's about, you know what, I did read this. It's about DeFi and options for fees and things. Yeah, I've got opinions on that. We'll get down to that later. So if you've been keeping up, you already know that we've got on Den, we've got Tipping Live. That's been out for a few weeks at this point. I've used it locally with some friends. I have scheduled an event in person. We're hiring some entertainment, get a popular local band that has a following, and see if they're interested in getting to know how to use Den and how to use cryptocurrency. And basically just what I'm deciding to do is invest a little money in throwing a party. I'll at least have fun, and hopefully we'll get a few new quality denizens, people that get it and understand why it's important to own what we create and to keep value local. In my opinion, even if people don't realize it, these big companies like Facebook and Twitter and anything else like Google, advertising companies, a little bit out of scope for Den, but they're sucking value out of communities. They're tapping a resource. Just like, I don't know, I guess Nestle would tap Florida's aquifers to pump it out, bottle it, sell it, and profit off of it while not really putting a whole lot back into the local community. I feel that's what Facebook is doing with them and with Instagram and with WhatsApp and with Oculus and with Meta. Like, they're finding that social value can be realized in company profits if you apply some technology to it. And unfortunately, because this legacy system was already installed before blockchain really took off and before cryptocurrency really took off, I feel like there was this unfair advantage for people who have nefarious goals. Nefarious? Maybe somebody can chime in how I'm supposed to pronounce that. Depends on where I'm from, probably, right? But yeah, people like Zuckerberg, who has a specific point of view on how to make money, regardless, in my opinion, of whose expense it's at. They're the ones that have the capital to advertise and push out something like that 1 hour demo of Meta whenever Facebook was talking about changing their name and stuff like that. But what we can do here and what I'm doing with some success is kind of, it's kind of that sneak attack where the bigger players don't really give the little guys much credit. But once you start building actual value into a system, you can call them the bean counters if you want, but it starts to get attention. Oh, wait, maybe there's something there. And hopefully by the time that happens, we'll have built in all the tools we need to effectively have a decentralized competition against those big players. So there's a little morning Dave philosophy for you, I guess. A little bit of what's in it for me and why I'm doing this. We got to take the power back. All right, so let's jump into what there is to talk about. Again, if you have anything you want to chat about, I am usually an open book. Keep it related to Den or a post that's been posted on Den. It doesn't have to be about Den, but let's try to jump off from one of the layers in the conversation. But pop on in if you're awake and you want to chat a little bit. Right off the bat, I do want to point out that there's a couple of posts worth checking out. I know sometimes it can be difficult to navigate some of the layers, especially if you're new, if you're not used to how the sorting and the search functions work and things like that. So I've linked right up here at the top. And again, I've said this last time, but look for these posts in the Den layer. This one's just titled Coffee with Den episode 4. It's got the governance hands on it. That's how you'll be able to see it scrolling through if that's how you're looking for it. But right at the top, I've got links to a couple of things that we should check out, and we'll do that this morning too. But you should go check it out. And if you have any of the governance lot, not like for the Den layer or for like one of the individual layers, but if you have the site-wide governance lot from when those were minted, you can vote. And you need to come in and vote. I haven't done it yet. I'll do it this morning or this afternoon. But the Matter minting schedule is up for a vote. So right now, Matter gets minted on Ethereum every day, which was never a problem until the fees are what they are now. In fact, let's go see what the fees actually are right now, out of curiosity. I usually go to Etherscan, and they've got a really good... and easy to understand anyway, gas prices here. So if you click on that, it'll bring up a window where you can see how expensive it is. And it's pretty expensive, right? So if you just want to transfer tokens right now, it better be way more than $30 because your fee is $30 or $35 or $40, right? These Uniswap swaps are interacting with a smart contract, so they're going to be more expensive than just transferring an ERC20. And that goes into the reason that we need to start minting a little bit less often than every day, at least for now. It can always be checked back, rolled back into every day, in the future. But it's actually more expensive, I think, to call hours because it's a different contract. It doesn't work the way that Uniswap works. So the the proposal is for us to continue doing everything the same. Nothing internally should change. But the Ethereum Matter minting function only happens every 7 days. So you'll still get your internal accounting done every day. Your period is still every day. It's just going to be that externally, the minting function on the Ethereum smart contract is only called once a week, and so we pay one fee. See, this is how my brain works. I sound like I can talk all morning, but then I get stuck sometimes on simple words. But yeah, we'd only have to pay one fee per week instead of trying to pay every single day for it. And that's a pretty good temporary solution until Ethereum gets their fees sorted out, because right now it's effectively broken, in my opinion, for a lot of use cases that were built on Ethereum when the fees were not the way they are today. A lot of those cases have moved on to different chains or onto a side chain, just like Den has moved internal with lore voting and things like that were initially designed out on Ethereum. It's still on Ethereum. We just do all the processing here and spread out the fees a little bit so it's easier for everybody. So that's up for vote. I think it's fine. I'm going to vote for it. I don't think there's any reason not to vote for it. And really, it's a minimal effect. It's just really most people aren't even going to notice. So there's that one. And then the other one that's up for discussion is the user ID flags. Joe did a really good job of mocking this up. Let me pull it up a little bit bigger if I can. There we go. Joe did a really good job of mocking this up. I like it quite a bit. Now I've got on my screen, you can see some of the problems with me running in a custom dark mode that I have. So let's see if I can I undark mode it for a second? Where's the button? I forget, is it night eye? Yeah, here we go, normal. Boom, there we go. Sorry if this just woke you up super bright. I actually did night mode because it's a morning coffee show, but whatever. So here it is in not, oh no, it's still dark whenever you pull it up. Oh well. Let's do it the hacky way. There, is that bigger? That's bigger. So flags, all right? Flags are potentially more complicated than you think they are. Not complicated, but more useful and with more features. So the features are sort of pointed out here with the different arrows and such. I want to walk through it. There's probably going to be some changes just based on the size and placement of things. If you consider, I've got this blown up a little bit and it's a big picture to begin with. But if you look over here at the actual size of the avatar, this is going to be, maybe twice as wide at the most, but the same size. So you're going to need to be able to really see these stars better. They're going to have to be probably a little bit bigger, maybe some color choices to make them pop out and so you can recognize them easier. But here's what they're for. Along the left, you've got these red stars here. And this is a work in progress. So feedback on this, this is what it's for. It's a discussion thread in the governance layer. So chime in on it. But these red stars on the left, the idea is for these to be user badges. And badges can be sort of a lot of things, I guess. It can be something like what I was talking to, I think someone in the comments of this morning's post about, I forget what the topic was, but I was talking about the use case of factor, which is something that also came out of Dragon Chain and is planned to be incorporated into Den at some point. With things like that, you could prove different factors of someone's identifying factors, not just to prove who they are, but what they are and potentially what kind of experience they have. And I brought up something that I am pretty familiar with, which is running service nodes and mining and things like that. And a lot of times in different chat rooms or different forums and things like that, you can't really tell who you're talking to until you get to know the community for a while and, spend, a week, a month, just getting interacting and getting to know who's who. And something that could be done, though, is with factor integration, I could just see that the person I'm talking to is a node runner and they have been a node runner for 12, 24 months. Maybe I know that their uptime has been at least 80%, so they're a decently good node runner too. And so without knowing who they are, I can know, oh, maybe that's somebody I should talk to for advice. Or if that person's weighing in, maybe there's a badge that identifies that, oh no, they are an expert in this particular field, and so you should probably listen to what they say pretty carefully. And you can do all that without any kind of compromise of identification or privacy or anything like that. Let me just check a message here real quick. All right, my friend, trying to get I am getting a friend of mine into Den and the cryptocurrency, and he just sent me a message that when he's going to come over today. I'm excited. I'm going to write up what we're building on Den, so stay tuned for that. It's a mining rig. Spoiler alert. So the rest of these on the badge, forgive me for going off course sometimes. I do that a lot. Your avatar obviously is right in the middle, right? So Joe's got his avatar in the middle just like normal. And you would be able to choose whatever you want to go in there just like you can right now. And then off to the right, though, off to the right is flag stripes that are going to be unique in color, in number of stripes, in the angle of the stripes. Maybe some of them are diagonal and some of them are horizontal, or maybe some of them are green while some of them are red. It's Christmas time, right? And that'll help to weed out imposters. So if somebody comes in and says, hey, I'm Joe Dragon, well, they won't have any of the badges, but they'll also have a whole different flag too. And if you're somebody who interacts with Joe Dragon, you're not going to get tricked by thinking it's someone else. So the other stars that are on here, and they might be a little bit harder to see, but top right, bottom right. Top right, you've got content reputation. Now this is already a feature. In fact, you can see it pretty clearly in the governance layer. It's already a feature that some people might not know about in the beginning. That's not how you spell Den. Come on, Dave. But basically, when you first come in, you make an account. You don't have any reputation. You don't have any history with the whole website itself or with any of the individual layers or the users or any of that. Yeah, here we go. So if I go to, and this is me signed in with my account. Speaking of reputation, this should be the same, or if not the same, then similar to what this content reputation ends up being. But a similar concept anyway, where admins, and then later after governance is done, the community can pick different thresholds where you can or cannot perform certain actions in the layer, not the whole website, just the layer, based on your reputation. So for example, in the governance 2021 layer, you have to be able to post. You either have to have a 5-star site-wide reputation, or you have to have a 5-star layer-wide reputation, right? And that's so that maybe you've never been in this layer before, but you've got some history on the website and other layers. Well, if you've been a pretty damn good player the whole time, then chances are you should not cause trouble here, so we'll let you go ahead and post. If not, you can start replying so that you can interact with people who do have a higher reputation who can post. And with interacting with those posts, you're going to earn a reputation for yourself. And so you can come in and start replying, even if you have a relatively poor reputation site-wide of 2 stars, and you can work your way up to a better rep in the layer. Even if your site-wide reputation stays at 2 stars for whatever reason, your layer reputation will improve. And once it gets to 5 stars in the layer reputation, again, even though you still have a 2-star rep site-wide, you'll be able to post after that time, right? So you can sort of earn the right to post if you're trying to post in a layer that has a more restrictive access scheme. And you can do the same thing with votes. If you don't want new people to be able to vote until they understand what the community values and what they should be voting for. In hindsight, I may have should have done this to the music layer a long time ago, but I just didn't want to, I didn't want to brush away new users kind of thing. I might look into, I don't know. You know what? I'm not going to look into anything. What I'm going to do is I'm going to wait for governance to come out, and then everybody will decide what the settings should be. But yeah, and then I think all the layers right now, we keep the torrent thing turned off so that doesn't play in. But, videos, images, things like that, you can just decide without picking on a particular user. You can just say, okay, here's reputation settings. Anybody with this reputation can do these actions. Pretty fair. So that would be what those stars are about. The bottom stars, bottom right, is the economic reputation. And I'm going pretty deep into the flags just because it needs to be discussed. And I'm hoping that somebody finds something to pick out and throw in to the replies there. But the economic reputation is interesting too, because, well, I'll use my account, for example. I would have a very good economic reputation because the amount of matter that I've earned is very close, like over the lifetime or over the last, I'm trying to think. It was over the last, not lifetime, but over the last period of maybe a month or whenever it was. The amount of matter I earned is pretty close to the amount of matter that I have in my balance, which means I have not been affecting the economy negatively by just using Den as a way to take matter out and dump it on the open market. Because there's a lot of different things to do with matter. If you look into the system and how it works, as a creator, you can actually, there's a lot of utility from matter, and we're making more of it too for things like the layer creation process and things like that. But basically, this is a measure of your earning versus your theoretically selling, but like removing from the economy kind of thing. And it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just how people have different use cases, right? Some people will want to manage a community and have maybe one day have a layer that they're owner in, things like that. And other people just want to see what they can make day to day and not look any further than that. So it gives you an idea of what sort of mentality a person has about the economics of the Den system, I think is maybe a fair way to explain that. And then it's something like, for example, if two people, all things are equal, and they have similarly good content, it may be, for example, somebody might vote more or tip out even matter to somebody who has a 5-star rep, because they know that their tips aren't just going to go like get cashed out. It's going to be reinvested into the community. It's going to be reinvested into managing the layers. It's going to be reinvested into creating the new layers with people that are valuable, things like that. So it's just kind of a way to, once again, without having anything specific to a particular user, sort of give like a fair way to assess, all the different metrics that you might be interested in knowing. And then right in the middle, this is on the middle stripe. You can have things like layer owner badges. There's a little fellowship seal in there. There's a little, what is that? Oh yeah, the Den logo. So like maybe you're somebody who is an official either partner or employee, or somehow like with the official Den entity itself, so that you're talking to an admin, for example, or somebody who like, I don't know, can pass the word directly to a dev if you, for whatever reason. Not that you should ever try to go around customer service, but I'm just digging for like reasons. But anything you want to show up there could be proven with this badge system, and I think it's pretty slick. And then later on, you can start adding these secondary features right here. You can start adding extra stars on it if you run out of combinations of and colors of stripes and things like that. So that's basically the structure of the badge. And like I said, just maybe a little modification to make it more clearly readable, since on the UI the avatar is pretty small. So that is badges. That is thoroughly badges. You're welcome. Let me go back to dark mode, save my eyes. If you're wondering about the dark mode thing, it's a add-on that I have called, I guess it's called Night Eye. I just found it in the, what do you call that? Not the App Store. It's the web browser plugin place. What's it called? I got to look now. The add-on, it's like in the Chrome store and in the Firefox like settings where you, add-ons and themes. Yeah, it's an add-on extension. So let me go back to the agenda. See where we left off. All right. We didn't get anywhere at all. We got these 2 items, but those were pretty big ones, so that's fine. Now, exciting stuff. Let me cheer up and wake up a little bit. I am actually feeling the caffeine at this point, so that's good. We got layers, man. Let's check them out. Let's see here. Yeah. let me just go here. I'll reuse this tab. So LCP. LCP, if you don't know, stands for layer creation process. And it's the way that Den creates new communities every month. And instead of it being just a free-for-all where anybody can go squat on domains or squat on layer names and things like that, we actually introduce a little bit of scarcity every month to see which topics have enough people who want to actively participate or want to vote on or have ownership in a certain topic. And then we run the contest. We have usually 1 or 2 winners by unique voters or by most votes, 2 different categories. And just like last month when throwbacks won both categories, Elon Musk won both categories this month as well. And it's the most lore and the most unique voters that's ever voted for a particular layer on Den. So that's pretty cool. One of the questions that came up was that if there, with all of these, like Elon Musk had 9.5 million lore committed. So that's literally going to create 9.5 million ERC-based or Ethereum-based NFTs that, by the way, don't need to be taken out of Den. You don't need to pay the gas fee to export them to Ethereum. But it's important to remember that they are, like regular NFTs, like anything else. They can be independent assets of Den. If there's ever a reason to have them used outside of Den, right? I'm using them outside of Den, but I'm still using Den to transfer between people that I'm giving them to. Just harping on that because people have taken them out, and there's, gas fees, man. I hope in like a year, at the most, gas fees are like pennies again. That would be amazing. So Elon Musk has a layer. It's not created yet. It's currently downloading. It'll be set up soon, and we'll get our Elon on. Now beyond that, there are runners up. So you have not counting the maximum lore, just counting the runners up for unique voters. This is something that it's always been a thing. It's just not been like sort of structured the way that it is now. Recently, this was changed from $500 or 1 ether fee to set it up anyway, even if you didn't win. And now it's going to be a tiered, discounted, matter-based payment. So getting away from Ethereum a little bit again, which is good for the use cases that we're talking about. So if you, for example, are one of the 51 unique voters for this Denizens Urdu Hindi layer, any one of you 51 people can pay a fee. I think it's 200 matter MTR, right? You can take some of this MTR that you've been earning on Den that just is given out based on interaction and normal usage, being a decent denizen and things like that. And you can say, well, I don't really want to wait until next month, and I don't really want to compete again for next month. I just want my damn layer. Give it to me. Well, you can do that, and you guys can pool your matter together. If you have somebody trusted that several of you know isn't going to rip you off, you can even use the tipping feature to figure out who's going to hand in the 200 matter, and then you just get a hold of support at Den.social and let them know, hey, we want to open the Hindi layer that was the first runner up. What address do I send the matter to, or what account do I tip it to? And then we actually don't know what we're doing with that matter yet, but we're not doing anything with it. We'll have a discussion later on. If we start getting decent funds in that account where people want to make these layers anyway, then we'll have something to do with that. But more importantly, any of the top 5 runners up can do that. So the first runner up, or the second place person, or the first loser, or however you want to state that, is going to be 200 matter. The second runner up is 400, and then 6, 8, and 1,000 matter is how that's priced. So if you want to open the Japan layer, you can do that right now this cycle, even though you didn't win. And you'll get 412,000 lot created from these lore, and they'll be distributed however these voters voted. And you'll just have to pay 1,000 matter instead of 200 matter because you're 5th runner up, not 1st runner up. So that's the new structure for like spinning up layers that didn't win, even if it's an LCP. And something else that's kind of cool, I think, is we'll be able to use that to see how in demand or how, let's see, what's a better way to see if we're underserving by only having 2 layers every month. If people start buying these, especially the cheaper ones, 200, 400 matter for the motorcycle layer, for example, then we'll know that there's more demand. We should probably increase the number of layers that we're doing every week from 2 to something like 4 or maybe 6 even. If it's, consistently all 5 of them being bought, obviously people, there's more of growth, more demand and more people that have specific interests and things like that. So then eventually what we are going to get to, and this is spelled out in the white paper from the very beginning, I believe, which is this whole process should just be automated, where the system knows how many layers it needs to create next month based on demand. And this is one of the signals that we could use, or one of the metrics we could use to kind of gauge if we're under or over serving the number every month, so the system can just run by itself. Because this is supposed to be run by all of you more than the Den company itself. It's sort of the benefit of having a decentralized platform in the first place, is you don't need to go out and hire 11 billion people and raise venture capital money and all of this startup stuff that's normally a requirement for success. You don't have to do any of that now, because you can just, I say just, but you can very carefully plan out a decentralized economy of people who want to just show up to work and do the tasks, So that's how I always look at it anyway. So there's the layers. Next LCP will open, I think the first of the, let me go from memory here. If I'm wrong, I'm sorry. But I believe the first week of the month is when proposals open. And then the second or third week is when voting happens, or maybe both. And then the last week is when the layer actually gets created of the month. And then it just cycles back to the first of the month again. I might be off. There might be specific dates. There probably are. But that's generally, like, we have a session of, okay, for example, Elon Musk won. Let me go back here. Regardless of how accurate I was, the order is, so this is one. This will be created, and this will be a layer that shows up in the layers section. And you'll go and be able to subscribe to it, and you'll be able to go get Elon and get him to subscribe to it, or at least look at the memes. But then the rest of these layers still remain. These were all proposed in the past, right? All these, however many are. Let's see, there's 60, 70, 80. I saw 90, 100, 10. Geez, so there's 115 different layers proposed of all kinds of different topics. Go look at them and see if there's a topic that you personally wouldn't mind creating some content for, and go throw some lore into it, because you get lore just for using the platform as well, right? You get MTR, but then the MTR yields lore. And if you are an Elon fan, that is one of the 82 owners here, all this 9.5 million lore, when it gets converted to lot, the NFTs that represent ownership, those lot also generate lore. It's basically our farming mechanism. It's a behavior rewards system, the lore-based reward system. But that allows anyone to get these voting rights for the LCP, so that anybody can come in and be an owner one day. You don't have to buy anything. You just come in and show that, like, you're a valuable person. People will vote on you accordingly. You may get tipped out some here and there, but eventually you start getting a higher matter balance, which gives you in turn a higher energy balance to use every day. You use it up, it comes back. You use it up, it comes back. It's free. And then it also will generate lore to vote in here, right? Which gives you lot. And then your name or your handle will show up under the layer owners for that particular layer you voted on. So that's sort of the circular system there. Well, it's more of a spaghetti. It's like everything feeds into itself, and it's delicious, depending on who's making the spaghetti. Let's go back to our agenda. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'll go to that later. Agenda. Stay on track, Dave. Stay on track. So, Elon Musk layer. All kinds of content there. I'm a big fan of the guy. He's one of the people that I think I don't know. We need more of. I guess there's things that people don't like about Elon, but there's things that people don't like about a lot of people. And I think that's always going to be true to humans. That there's going to be people that like. There's very few people that I don't dislike something about, probably, and those are typically the ones that I don't know very well. The more you get to know people, the more you realize how human they are, which isn't a bad thing. But Elon, I'm pro Elon. I got a Cybertruck pre-ordered. I hope it. I hope it. There's no problems with it because it's it's cheap for an electric car. It's cheap for a Tesla, but it's one of my bigger like kind of like, all right, I'm going to do this. So I'll put pictures of that when I get it. If that happens, if I ever get my Starlink satellite that I also pre-ordered, maybe I'll throw a picture of that in there. The moving on from that, the next and last big update is the layer governance features that's coming up. Layer governance is going to be something that really I'm going to use a lot of it. I'm going to make some shorter videos. I know I keep saying that, and I haven't put them out yet, but I'll make some shorter videos that are going over just the basics of how to use that system. And I think I got a mock-up somewhere that actually no, I don't. It is, but it's like so early that I'm not gonna go there. But basically, what it's gonna do is it's gonna allow you to post in a layer that you own. We just talked about voting and getting lot and ownership tokens. You'll be able to vote in a layer that you own. Or, I'm sorry, put something up for vote in a layer that you own. And that could be something as simple as changing the banner, right? Maybe if you want the, let's go to the, what layer is this? These are all official layers. Let me go to something else like, let's see. Which one haven't I gone to in a while? Green Earth. I actually forgot that I was not subscribed to this one, and I just subscribed to it yesterday. I forgot. It slipped through. We've been having a lot of growth, so I'm, on one hand, like, sorry that I didn't paid enough attention, but on the other hand, it's kind of cool that there's enough activity to where things are slipping through now. I just got to step up on it. So let's say Green Earth, right? And if you pull down the lot holders, these are all the users that, oh man, see, now I feel extra bad. Decentralized Gainesville I actually control. And I think that, yeah, okay. Moving on from my internal dialogue. Any of these people can propose a governance item. You can post. It'll be a new post. It'll be a certain kind of post. You'll select what kind of poll or vote it is. And that can be something like, change this banner. Now, if you do that, you better have a banner ready because you're going to actually upload a file. And when that proposal is voted on, if it passes, it just becomes the banner. There's not a human that has to come in and say, all right, this passed, let's add it. Same thing with the avatar, same thing with the description of the layer. If you wanted to change how that, the wording there, if you wanted to put some community guidelines in there, that's all now able to be done by all of the community together, excuse me, instead of relying on just like one person who has admin to change the setting. If you are that admin and you don't know how to do that, if you go to settings, you'll see owner and you'll see admin, right? So the music layer, I'm responsible personally for changing the reputation settings, right? Who can post, who can vote, depending on their reputation. And obviously I have it set super low right now. What was I going to say? I lost my train of thought. Give me a second. Oh yeah, I was going to say, here's how you change the settings. But then that one, let's see, profile. Right, so you go to the profile settings. If you're the admin of a particular layer, then that's where, at the moment, you change these things like the avatar and the banner and things like that, right? It takes you to this interface, and then you can pick a new one. That'll go away. I'm pretty sure completely it'll go away. The description, the display name, all of that. The display name changes literally this display name right here. It does not change the slug up at the top, the slash music. But that goes away, and it becomes this new governance system where now anybody can propose a change. And then everybody, once again, who owns lot, now there's 523,000, and these are listed from greatest to least holders. So there are people that have more of a vote than others, just by the way that the LCP happened, the voting, how many lore they put in initially, and all that. You end up with a bunch of people that have votes. And whenever you vote on the proposals, this is what I was trying to get to, and I'm taking too long, is that when you vote, it's all or nothing. You can't split up your votes between like two options, because there are up to 13 options on some governance things, but it's just like you're weighing in or you're not weighing in. And two things happen. Either it will win by majority or it'll time out, basically, and that's it. So that'll be cool. It's on the back end, almost done. I'm hearing on the front end, I've seen some mock-ups, so it's pretty close to being there. It's our next feature. There's no deadline on it, but it's our next feature for sure. So that is layer governance. It was discussed a little bit on Super Happy as well, I think. Let me just make sure that I hit all the points on here. Oh yeah, it's the gas. Governance as a service. That's what I'm using it for the Gainesville layer. I'm actually handing them out because you can tip them as well, as long as they're internal and you did not take them out to Ethereum yet. You can tip them to other users. And so I'll be doing that locally as sort of if you're familiar with the POAP, or the proof of attendance protocol, they're doing a thing where like you get an NFT to represent, yes, you were here, you were on site. This is exactly the same thing. I'm just going to tip people that come to the meetups. And so that way, over time, the people who have come out to the most meetups get the most vote in whatever decision making that we need to make in Gainesville. Excuse me again. So that's pretty cool. That's going to make it easy for non-Web3 computer people to just push a button and make it happen without any sort of like signing on a third-party site or any confusing stuff that looks scary to people. It's just in the app, and you can use the entire app for this one feature if you want. You don't have to use anything else. You can just use it for governance for whatever you're doing. So that's cool. So those are all of the updates I wanted to be sure that I covered in detail. And then the rest of this, I'm going to go through, of course, but before that, I'm going to take a break. I'm going to get some coffee. Let's roll an advertisement in the meantime. Let's look at, what do we want to go with? Let's go with Norwegian. I like Norway a lot. Yeah, let's go with Norway. I'll be right back.
På sosiale medier I dag går ofte kvalitetsinnhold ubemerket. På Den.social blir brukere betalt for å skape, evaluere og sørge for kvalitetsinnhold. Innholdsskapere blir belønnet basert på engasjementet og rekkevidden innlegget eller kommentaren deres får. Evaluering av innhold blir belønnet basert på hastighet og presisjon I forhold til hva som kommer til å trende og gå viralt. Eiere av fellesskap blir belønnet basert på engasjementet I sitt fellesskap. På Den.social blir kvalitetsinnhold belønnet.
All right, that was our Norwegian language Den ad. I like Norway a lot. It's one of my favorite countries that I've visited. One of the most expensive that I've visited, but one of my favorites too. I remember when I was in the Navy, I don't even know what we were doing, honestly. It was kind of like sort of just this big political thing. It was under the Obama administration in, oh man, it must have been 2006 or 5 or something. Anyway, we were playing nice with Russia. We were trying to be friends with Russia again, which, you know, for 2 weeks we very much were. At least those two ships were very good friends. We met up in the North Atlantic with the Admiral Chabanenko, I think was the name of the ship. Really intimidating looking Russian destroyer. And we did all of these sort of like friendly exercises where we would land our helicopter on their ship and they would land their helicopter on ours. And then we had a VBSS team, which is vessel boarding, search and seizure. Some of the stuff that I was somewhat involved with down in Somalia for like piracy and interdiction and, you know, trafficking and things like that. So we have that team and they have a team like that too. So we pretended to take over their ship, you know, drive the little boat over there, climb up the ladders on the side, you know, go in with guns, take everybody hostage. And then they did the same thing over here, come over, here's, you know, how we take over a ship. And we did all these exercises with Russia as a way to like, you know, just keeping up foreign relations, I guess, because we went, so we did that for a few days. And then we went with that ship, the both of us. I was on the USS Nitsa at the time, DDG-94. It's a Flight 2 Alpha Arleigh Burke class destroyer. Beautiful ship. I was a plank owner on that one, helped build it. But yeah, we went in for 2 weeks to Norway. We went out each weekend, but we were there in port all week for 2 weeks, literally just to hang out with everybody on the other ship so that we could all get along. And we went out in town and we, you know, toured around and we we went over to the Russian ship and we drank with them and they came over to our ship and we taught them how to play beer pong and drank with them. And it was a big fun time. And so, yeah, I guess that's what I was reminded of when I rolled the Norwegian advertisement. That was Trondheim. So if you ever get a chance to go through the fjords in Norway, which is, you know, coming from ship, we came through the Atlantic and it was probably, it was hours of just beautiful, you know, a couple of slow moving destroyers coming through the Norwegian fjords to Trondheim. And it was just one of the most beautiful approaches I've ever seen. So there's my, I'll charge the Norway Visitors Association or whatever they got for an ad spot there. Moving on. Yesterday, this is less Den, more Dragon Chain, which Den is built on top of Dragon Chain. Just for clarification, some people are confused about that. Like the time and dragon token thing is not really as important on Den as the matter, energy, lot, and lore. They're two different things. Dragon Chain is like, let's see, something, you know, Decentraland is built on Ethereum and Polygon, where Den is built on Ethereum and DragonNet, right? If you want to look at it that way, if you understand that. But every week on Tuesday, just like every week on Wednesday, there's a Den show. Well, there's a Dragon Chain show on Tuesday. And I like to just recap what that show went over whenever I do mine, because I watch it every week anyway, and I may as well. There's a section called Number Go Up that I'm pretty happy is still a recurring section. There's an article that I linked to that is about the Taproot update to Bitcoin. A lot of interesting, mostly privacy-based capabilities, privacy capabilities that are possible now. Schnorr signatures are a thing now on Bitcoin, and to the point, I guess, you can do things like you can create, for example, an inheritance or a power of attorney style structure in on Bitcoin, and you can have an account and you can fund it, and already you can have multi-sig accounts. You can make it to where two people have to sign with their private keys for you to be able to use or spend the money in that account. The problem is it's all public. The entire in my opinion, the biggest problem with Bitcoin is that it's all transparent. And so you don't have any of the security, like legal security that other forms of currency like cash have, or even just private centralized bank accounts where you can create a secret agreement and nobody knows about it until it's executed. So, let's say, for example, I wanted to put my wife on an account as an authorized person to spend that money, but I don't want to advertise the fact that my wife is able to spend my money, because I don't want anybody to come over and like harm her and threaten her to get her to give up her private keys. Well, now that Taproot is live, you can do that, and you don't have to disclose who the other parties, the account holders and things like that, until it's actually executed. Once somebody who is like a secret, executor of the account, once that's done, then you can see, oh, well, this person had access, obviously. There's some misleading information about how it brings in like smart contract capability. And there's a lot of stuff on Twitter and even on CNBC and things like that saying that Taproot brings smart contracts to Bitcoin. It brings some of the functionality that a smart contract can provide, which is like what I was just talking about, but it's not like Ethereum style or Solana or Cardano or any of the smart contract capable. I think Cardano is smart contract capable now. Has been for a few months maybe. Anyway, yeah, it's not that. So if you see people selling it as that, just know that that's not something that's real. Prove me wrong, right? The metrics page for Dragon Net was a little bit wonky. Let me see if it's updated now. There was an issue with the L5 nodes, not a like, devastating issue, but it's something that, okay, it's not updated yet. It's something that is not affecting DragonNet. Obviously, Den is still online, right? So if DragonNet were down, which I don't think I've seen happen, then you would see, you might see some effect. In fact, even if DragonNet is down, I think the independent, Den would still work because it's got its own, it's got its own blockchain. So, excuse me, I'm having a little bit of a, okay, burp. So if you're into Dragon Chain and you notice that the metrics were weird, they'll be fine next week. There's just some issues. It was a hardware problem. I have an idea of what it was, and it seems interesting. And they're taking a little bit more time to, since it was down already, they're going to improve the hosting situation to where that doesn't happen again. The Ethereum L5 was down for a little bit because it wasn't funded, and that goes back to the explosion in gas fees, right? The way that works is there's an account. The company Dragon Chain fills that account as part of their business, and that account pays for gas fees at a certain cadence whenever the Ethereum L5 does what it does to bridge DragonNet and Ethereum for the interoperability. So that's what happened there. There is a new blog post out about advertising in blockchain-based advertising. That might end up being a world blockchain topic one day. But it's a good advertisement. I sent it to a friend of mine who owns an not advertising company, I sent it to a friend of mine because I thought it was interesting. I'll leave it at that. And then the rest of it, we went into, so this bit about here, if you're wondering, this was about changing the, how often Den mints matter on Ethereum in response to the Ethereum fees and going way up the way that they did. And Joe mentioned that it was a good example of how a business, if they built on Dragon Chain, could just dynamically change the way that you're interacting with the other networks. If something like that happens, you can change the settings and the cadence and all these different things locally on your business node to compensate for stuff like that. So that's basically what Den's proposing to do in that one that we read in the beginning. So then I won't go through his AMA again, but I just wrote out some points for each of the questions that was asked. And I thought they were pretty good responses. And, Joe even asks answers the rude questions too. So try not to do that. It's just a waste of time. But I thought it was interesting to see what he said. about, just go back and watch it. The World Blockchain Roundtable is coming up tomorrow. And then next week, it might happen either on Wednesday or it might get pushed back. Next week in the US is Thanksgiving. And so we're not going to do a Thursday show on Thanksgiving. What was I going to say? I had something else, as I often do. But I've linked to that as well, so go check that out. Leave some questions. I'm a gamer. I wish I had more screen time. I'm in front of a screen all the time, and I could live in the metaverse. Personally, I don't care. Probably came from living in a tin can for so many years in the Navy, but really, I'm down. I'll live in Fallout World, or I'll live in Skyrim World, or I'll live in, Decentraland. Maybe we'll see. But gaming and blockchain is colliding in a way that I think maybe the blockchain community knows it a little bit more than the gaming community, but the gaming community is probably not even going to realize that they're using blockchain by the time it's really going where I think it's going to go, which is like the entire economy of gaming skins and the economy is itself, the gold inside of a game and things like that. It's just a whole other animal when you start applying blockchain to it, because then, you already have, and you had a decade ago, 2 decades ago. Shit, how long has it been? You've had for decades people that will take a game like RuneScape or World of Warcraft or what's the one? The one I always EverQuest, the one I always forget because I never played it. People will take items in those games. Even when I was playing Diablo 2, people will sell in-game items, even if they're like able to be duplicated, even if the gold is able to be like hacked and things like that. They were going on eBay. So if people are already going out of their way to sell in-game items when the game was never designed for that to happen, then absolutely, when games are designed from the ground up to allow for that to happen and to facilitate that in a fair way that's provable and all of these things, it's going to happen in every single big game. All of them are going to do it, because then, like, as soon as someone does it successfully, I think that's when you'll see the shift, where the competitors will say, okay, they did it, and holy crap, look at how successful that is. We got to do it too. That's the way I see it going. So let's talk about it more tomorrow then. And as a reminder also, the privacy layer, when that lot gets handed out, it's based on the number of views that the video got. So go back and share that so that more people see it, so that more of the lot gets handed out. And if you're unfamiliar, the lot gets handed out just for asking questions and participating. So you actually get to be an owner of the show for participating. It's like if you got a piece of Apple stock every time you used your iPhone or something like that, that kind of deal. So there is the pre-written topics and announcements. I want to crawl through the comments real quick. I've answered a lot of them up top already, just in the comments. So what I'll do then is I'll go from the bottom, and I want to, throw some energy on these and add some matter tips as well. And it looks like, unlike last week, I'm getting right in at about an hour. I think last week I went for an hour and a half, because sometimes when I get talking on a subject, as you can clearly see, and especially in the morning when my brain's just booting up, just waking up, I just got ideas and I've got opinions. Oh, also, last call, if you are on and you want to pop in and say hello real quick, at the top of this post, which can be found in the Den layer, or in the Den layer on the Den website, Den.social, where's the link? It should be at the top, right? Yeah. There's this paragraph that's the last paragraph of the opening here, and it says click here to join. That'll take you into my live stream. Not directly, it'll put you in a little waiting room, and then you can chime in on the internal chat to let me know what it is you want to chat about, and I'll bring you in. Or if I know you already, I'll just bring you in. Basically, I just need to make sure that you're not a troll, because I don't want somebody coming on just like loud noises or something silly. So with that said, Derek's asks about DeFi, and specifically if there's any discussions with Dragon Chain about creating DeFi on Dragon Chain. I won't go into what there is or isn't discussions about the Dragon Chain. I'll leave that up to the Super Happy. So definitely leave that question in Tuesday's Super Happy comments. And I'm sure Joe will be more than happy to answer that question, but I just won't at this time. What I will say, though, is that you're so on point with the community kind of gravitating. What's the opposite of gravitating? They're shying away from Ethereum just because of the fees, and it is less important how to the average person is less important how decentralized something is, and the functionality is the important part. In other words, the people I talk to are not as concerned of their asset as they are with the ease of use and the functionality of it. So like I met someone who's shout out to all the rhinos. They're called Righteous Rhinos, and they're dropping an NFT collection as a 10,000 drop next month. I want to say off the top of my head, they were looking at December 4th. And they're looking at Solana. They're looking at, there's been discussion of Avalanche. There's been discussion of, I don't know if Polygon was mentioned, but basically anything except Ethereum is what their community is asking for, because nobody, like you could drop a free NFT and it would cost you $400 to mint it, right? It's not, it's it's broken, right? So to the questions point though, is that, yeah, there's definitely room on Dragon Chain to build that out. Like anybody who has a business that they want to build out to do that, it's definitely a good place for it, because just the way that we do here on Den, you can see we're dropping 9.5 million Ethereum-based NFTs just for the Elon Musk layer. And every one of those will show up on OpenSea because there are Ethereum NFTs. So if I go to OpenSea, and most of you probably already know this, but I'll go anyway just to show. But if you go to OpenSea/collection/Den, that's where you can find the open market for ownership of the layers on Den. And you can scroll through and you can see at a glance some information about them. You can see how many total lot there are. You can see if somebody is selling them, what price the last one sold at. There's not a ton of activity in this collection, but there will be. Like Yoda says, you will be, especially when governance is launched, because then these are the tokens that you have to have in order to vote in the particular layer that you want to vote in, right? You got to have some skin in the game, and you prove it by holding these NFTs. So we do that already on Den, which means we do that already on Dragon Chain. And there's, what I can say is there's some discussion about the lot and matter swaps, right? That's something that you'll see on Den at some point, is the ability to not have to take your lot out to OpenSea, which is a transaction fee, and then sell them to someone on OpenSea, which is a transaction fee. And then that person wouldn't necessarily have to bring them back into Den to use them. They would just need to claim their wallet, right? Their Ethereum wallet, and then they'll show up on Den. But again, you got fees. So we're going to eventually get around to that, where we have a marketplace for the NFTs internally, and people will be able to buy them with Matter. So that might answer your question a little bit. And beyond that, you can build. We could theoretically build on top of that whatever we wanted to, whatever the community votes on, because then we'll have the government stuff in place, and we'll have the ability to see what people want to prioritize, given a particular bandwidth, right? There's so many people working on different parts, and so with that bandwidth, right now, one feature at a time is a pretty cool pace. Like the features themselves are getting turned out really quickly, I think. So that's, and I like just kind of the, it'll be done when it's done cadence, because that's, in my experience, how the best software comes out, you know, projects and games and things like that. It's done when it's done. But it's still been pretty quick. I'm straying off topic of the question now, but I think that bounces around your question enough to move on to the next. So let me also thank you for the feedback. And I want to continue to tip people out whenever they do this. So I've been giving people 5 matter, not 45, maybe next time. And I'll add a little message and say, thanks for the input. So if you want to earn some extra matter, you can come on the comments. I usually at least have this up by the end of the day before. So yesterday night, last night. If I don't get backlogged, it'll be way before that. But I like to do that on here, and I like to do that on, I need to go back to the governance call and tip out those inputs as well, because I do appreciate that. Great way to push more LCP proposals, says Slavin. I believe that 1 new layer every month is not enough, and this is a good thing. Exactly. So we'll see. I think that with the recent growth, you're probably right. The idea was to get 2 a month, but then the same layer that has the most votes ends up getting the most individual, like unique voters too. So it wins both categories. So that'll either settle down, because like there's a new influx of users, right? Full Value Dan did a great video on Den. Some people came to check it out. Some of those people stuck around, which is outstanding. So yeah, there's probably demand for more categories, and we'll see if this new idea works, where you can pay a nominal fee in matter that you've earned for free by just, you know, using Den, or gone out and purchased from Uniswap. It doesn't matter. You can bring it in that way too. And if we see some layers of the top 5 runners up getting created anyway, that's a very objective metric to look at and say, okay, we need more layers. Next time, maybe we'll do the top by each category, but maybe we'll do the top 2 by number of like individual unique voters, and only just the top 1 by, you know, number of lore, right? So we can adjust it that way. Thanks for the input. I hope that was an okay answer for you. Next question. Oops, loading. Next question. Question about what you're currently discussing, lore and lot. If someone creates a private layer, can someone still earn matter rewards off of the content produced in that layer? No. Simple answer is there's private layers. We've got one for Fellowship of Dragons, which is a dragon chain kind of think tank. We've got one for internal Den, for people that are working on the platform and front end, back end, like testing things out, collaboration. And there's a few others too. And those are all separate from the economy. They do not generate matter. They do not take money away from people that are in the open layers. It does cost energy for them to be able to vote inside of the private layers, right? Voting's not free. There's still that metric. So I kind of like that, because it kind of, you know, let's say a business or a company comes to Den and says, all right, we want to open a private layer because this is actually a useful tool, and we want to organize our team and use it to prioritize our workflow and streamline things and communicate. And so they can do that, but then they've got to have energy, and their new account only gets 24 energy a day. So they might just go out in the regular economy and start using Den anyway, even though they're only there for their private layer. They can go out and use the economy, earn some matter, and then they'll have more energy to use in their private layer. So it's tied in a way that would benefit the economy of Den and not hurt it, if that makes sense. So there's the incentive for people that are in a private layer to go into the non-private, like public economy of Den, because that's the only place they can earn matter. But it's not, it's disincentivized, like it's impossible for them to negatively affect the economy by earning some of that limited matter that gets sent out every day. So there's the answer to that one. And thank you, Foost. Foost has been a regular on several shows. So I don't know how much I was upvoting the last ones. I kind of just arbitrarily have been sliding the slider over. So if I vote someone up more or less than others, it's not at this moment, it's not a measure of how much I think it's a good input or not. They're all equally welcome. Some of them that I only voted like 55 up on over an hour ago, I can't go back and vote again. So sorry about that. All right, Foost. Great question. And it is a great question because I forget that that's, I've been doing this with Den like a year and a half. Not this exactly, but I've been using Den for like a year and a half. So I forget sometimes that some of these more obscure questions are floating around. So thanks for asking that, just for reference, for the input. Yeah, confirmed. So while I'm here, somebody in Telegram chat recently asked about, in their account, it said they had matter pending. If you have matter pending, I'm going to send this matter, this 5 MTR, to Foost. And Foost is going to get 5 MTR pending for 7 days. And that's because there's a 7-day hold on tipped matter right now. It's a new feature. We want to make sure that we have a safety on it for now to make sure that we didn't screw something up. It'll probably get shortened or maybe even removed later. I don't know. But that's what pending means. Just wait for a week. Would we be able to store our lot on a hardware wallet such as Ledger? Yes. You can do that right now, I believe, by, if you want to, let's see. One caveat is if you do this, you will no longer be able to tip for free the lot. Still matter and stuff like that you have internally. But if you do this, you're going to be removing your ability to hand out lot to people in the platform without paying a transaction fee, because you're going to be taking it out to Ethereum at that point. And you're going to be using Ledger just like you use it for any other, like MetaMask, right? If you're using MetaMask and you've exported and paid the Ethereum fee to move your lot from Den out to Ethereum, it'll be in your MetaMask address. And if you have your MetaMask secured with Ledger, then you do have your lot secured in a hardware wallet. You just can't tip them in Den. You still use them in Den. You still have your that account, that address is claimed on Den. In fact, you have to in order to be able to transfer out to it, I believe. And so you'll still get credit and you'll still have voting rights. You'll still be able to vote. You'll be able to do every single thing with that lot on Den still, even if it's out on Ethereum. We're interoperable, so it doesn't matter to a certain extent. But you will not be able to use the tipping function. So I would say leave some of them in Den if you want to spread out some of your ownership to other people that would help you run the layer, because that brings more value. And it's better to have 20 of something valuable than 100 of something that's not. So if you find that to be useful, leave some in Den. But yeah, you can totally do that. You can use Ledger. I would probably use Ledger in MetaMask, because Den is MetaMask on the desktop. I'm pretty confident with. The other hardware wallets are great, but we just haven't tested them as thoroughly with this system yet. Great question. Thanks again. Thanks for it. All right, I'm going to send that off. That's going to be pending for 7 days, but it's there, and it'll come in after that. All right, what else we got here? Street Meat asks, is it possible to propose a layer and have a rule that a max number of lore be committed? For example, each person could only commit a max of 5 lore. Obviously, this would need to be voted by a significant amount of people, since it wouldn't be eligible for most lore committed. Good question. And the answer usually is yes. It's like the possibility of what exists in software is almost limitless. So yeah, it's possible. Most things are possible. Where that would come on the priority down in the pipeline, no idea. We'll probably, if you get a few people that want to try that out, let's see, maybe it's a proposal that, next year, for example, I think would be the soonest that you'd see something like that, which is only a couple months away. But you could get a site-wide governance proposal going and see how it feels. I don't know if people will go for that or not, but it's definitely possible. it would still win. It could still win by unique number of voters. It just couldn't win by max lore committed. And I can see that, that might be an interesting experiment to see if that further decentralization where you prevent people from quote unquote being whales or whatever, if that would have a good impact on the health of the layer, if it would, maybe there's some surprising results that we don't think of. It could be worth trying around like that just to see. I don't know. But that would be a governance proposal and people would vote on it. So thank you for that. I think, let's see. Yep, totally possible. Thanks for asking. Here's 5 MTR. All right, confirm that. So the rest of these, I think I've gone through and answered last night already, but I want to scrub through them anyway. Let's see. Oh, Rockstar. What's up? Thank you for all of your work, Rockstar. If y'all don't know, Rockstar makes good content, and I think from Venezuela. I'm pretty sure Venezuela is the location from where that content comes from. Yeah, check her out. She's got good content. Follow Rockstar. If you click on the Rockstar word here, it takes you to Rockstar's page here, and then you can follow from there, or you can leave a tip. Because honestly, like, there's decent stuff here. You should check it out. And I didn't realize, if you're watching right now, Rockstar, that looks like you. I barely know what you look like, but you've had photos on. Your red hair's not showing as much, but it looks like you. So that's awesome. I've never been. Are you ziplining? No, you're Paris. You're in the air. You're being crazy. You jumped out of a perfectly good airplane, didn't you? So yeah, thanks, Rockstar. Boom, boom, boom. Add message. Thanks for the support. So I'm gonna just honestly, like, I don't know. I'll have to go back and see how much MTR I make off of these episodes, but I'd like to just give out matter on every one of them to people that are participating. The goal is not right now anyway. The goal isn't for me to rake in the cash. It's to help to build a community, you know. What's up, Jessica Skolton? New to this field of crypto. Love to watch this useful topic. Good amount of time and hard work I can see. Thank you for the support again. Just like I said a minute ago to Rockstar. Here's 5 matter. Thanks for the support. All right, who else do we got here? One thing that could happen one day is that it could stop refreshing the page maybe every time, right? Crypto King is here. Hello, Distant. Sir, it's great to see people so enthusiastic about promoting awareness and good information here about this platform. I'm following you from now. Thank you, Crypto King. Crypto King is here. Yeah, it's I am enthusiastic about it, you know. I'm sometimes a little too enthusiastic about it, to be honest with you, but that's sort of a superpower of mine as well. So yeah, thanks. Oh, where did that go? I'll find it in a minute. Hello, Distant. Thanks for sharing. Hard work always pays off. And I'm going to say, I sure hope so. Thanks. All right. Who else we got? Here we go. This is who I didn't leave the tip for a minute ago. I don't want to miss anybody. Thanks for joining. See you around the site. See you around Den. All right. This is pretty useful, actually, going to the bottom like this, because after I voted up, I'm left with just the ones I've already voted on. So that's cool. Yeah, and these I've already tipped. Perfect. So we've got Tahir says, hello, Distant. Thanks for sharing. Hard work pays off. Rockstar, thanks for your hard work. Jessica, Crypto King, Derox. Who else? Elon Tusk. Well written. I've studied the basics. Meta Dragon and lore. Yeah. Time is probably a different discussion. I can talk more about that next week. I'm going into my overtime now already. But basically, it's separate. Time is separate from Den. You don't need it for anything in Den right now. That might change in the future. I don't know. But for people who are running Dragon Chain nodes, whether you have a business, for example, Den has to generate time by holding dragons in a wallet and not moving them. And then every day they yield some time points, tokens, right? And then they can apply that to the node, the Den node, the business machine, the server that's running on DragonNet. And that determines for them, for the business, how expensive their transactions are going to be. And the transactions are everything. The transactions are me clicking on this original button here, me clicking on this question button here, me up or down voting, me leaving you a reply, things like that are all a transaction that's on the blockchain. And they're proven out to Bitcoin, and they're proven out to the Ethereum blockchain as well as a backup. And it's all DragonNet stuff. None of it is necessarily Den stuff, so you don't have to worry about it. The only caveat there is that if you do have some dragons from a while back, there was a snapshot at the beginning of like when farming, I'll call farming, I guess, the rewards, the lore rewards daily thing, that mining, when that was first being implemented, there was a snapshot for people that had Dragon for a long time and they were credited, or they were, they got lore as part of that early farming routine, right? And then I think dragons today still, even if you, even though they're not a Den token, if you do hold dragons in your claimed wallet, you can't bring them into Den, but if you have them on your claimed wallet, it'll also yield lore for you. And that's going to happen to other unrelated tokens too. Liquidity tokens is going to happen for potentially other projects that are completely unrelated to Den or Dragon Chain, if the community is related enough. For example, if we wanted to, let's say we wanted to advertise Den to, I don't know, Dogecoin, even better, Shiba Inu holders, right? Because that's an ERC 20, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. So we could potentially and rather easily, I guess, allow for, let's say, 1 month period, we could have Shiba Inu season on Den, where if you have any of those tokens in your wallet, you go into the, you can stake them and you're earning lore, and you can use those to buy a lair. So let's say we wanted the Shiba army to come in and make a lair. Well, we could say, here, you can do it for free if you do it this way. Come in here, claim your wallet that has your tokens in it, start using the platform, earn some matter, earn some lore for a month. And then whenever the layer proposal's up for next month, propose your Shiba Inu layer, get all of your people that have, community that have been on Den for a while to vote for it. And hopefully it gets pushed up to where it passes, or it gets pushed up high enough to where you can spend a small amount of that matter that you earn to make it anyway. So that could be something that we use like a foreign token for in Den. And that's been discussed, but it's one of those like, yep, possible, but it would be a governance vote, and like it would be a community decision. It wouldn't be unilateral. So there's what I'll say about that. And ask again next week, and I'll try to get it first if that's not clear enough. Or ask it on Super Happy, because that's a dragon question, really, with time. And see if it gets answered over there. All right, let's see what else we've got. Covered that. Foost. Question about, okay, we did that. TR1EC3. So is that going to be Trice? Would be able to store a lot. Oh, I did that too. Okay, all right. I did more than I thought. Is it possible to propose? Yeah, okay. Let's scrub through and see if I miss anything then. High distant. Probably should have got this one first since it was up at the top, but here we are. Opinion on, oh yeah, I did cover that. Good. When I was talking about LCPs back there. Doing a great job. Looking forward to the show. Awesome. And I got my favorite Bitcoin shirt on. I didn't tip you out though. What's wrong with me? Cheers. And then the last few should just be right here at the top, and then that'll be all of them, I think. I'm interested in the NFT marketplace. Yeah, so this I wrote a little bit about here. I was medicated at the time, so maybe it's not as clear. But yeah, NFT marketplace on Den would be dope, because then the people I was talking about that run to Solana, or run to what is the one that there's this one that I don't like that people keep looking at, and I don't know why, and they keep doing stuff on it, but it's like a dead project, but it works and it's cheap. Yeah, I can't remember it now. Anyway, it would be cool if you could just get your community to come in here, open a layer or not, probably open a layer, and then as the drop happens, it's part of it. Like the layer gets opened, everyone makes a Den account, everyone gets ownership tokens, they get lot for joining and subscribing to the layer, so they can keep up with what's happening with the artist and with the minting and all that. Announcements, news, stuff like that could be put out. And then potentially, and this would be after we set up the marketplace for trading the lot NFTs for Matter, for buying them directly. Once that's done, we could theoretically make it to where, yeah, you could upload an image, or you could upload potentially an algorithm that randomizes like generative images, and you could mint and drop on Den directly, which would be like an extension of minting and dropping on Dragon Chain without having to build a whole site around it. You can just take what Den has and be like, cool, here's a layer for this drop. And then you have, for example, the Righteous Rhino's layer, right, if they did it that way. And then forever, you have your community there, and you monetize your community for the community just by interacting and things like that. So I would like to see that one day, and I think that we could get a lot of traction with that, because there are a lot of people that want to figure out how to avoid those fees for its users, and this could be one of the ways. So yeah, absolutely possible. And in fact, one of these days, like even if it's way down the road, I'm sure it'll eventually happen. Okay, governance tools, LCP, and here is what I was quoting earlier with the numbers, with the runners up. So MB Crypto has taken and just copied and pasted it here, so you can check it out in the comments. But those are the numbers for purchasing the non-winning layers if you still want to. And let's see, marketplace update. Yeah, hear about it. I was investing in Sol yeah. So NFT marketplace on Dragon Chain. It could be an ETH blockchain. It could be a Solana. It could be, who else is doing NFTs right now? Everybody is. Cardano, I think, is doing NFTs now. Yeah, anybody, right? Right now, the most accessible would be Ethereum, but there's not any technical reason why a Dragon Chain NFT marketplace would not allow you not just to access more blockchains from Dragon Chain, but more importantly, I think, would be the ability to move, or let's say you do want to mint on Solana, or you do want to mint on a cheaper side chain or something, right? But you still want to bring those into OpenSea or to like an Ethereum only marketplace. Dragon Chain could enable that by letting you bring in your Avalanche or your Cardano NFTs to DragonNet, or taking them from those foreign blockchains directly, over through the interoperability, the interchain with DragonNet. You could take them to Ethereum at that point, right? So you can still do all the initial distribution, all the initial minting, and all that, and then it's up to whoever to take it wherever they want. That's down the road, but that's very clearly within the scope of what Dragon Chain not only can do, but to an extent has done with other things, and also, to be honest, like in the U.S. has the patents to do. So it'll be interesting to see where that whole landscape moves to once you start getting really, really big companies that want to play in this space, but then their lawyers are like, you got to play by the rules all of a sudden because you're in the U.S. That is starting to barely happen just now. It's super early, so we'll see where that goes. Super possible though, yeah. Okay, so I'm pretty sure there's my hour and a half again. I'm pretty sure I got everything. Awesome. Yeah, that's it. So thanks again. for everybody who hung out with me and had coffee with me. I'm going to be doing this again next week, Wednesday morning, 9 a.m. my time, which is Eastern. I'll have another post up before that. A couple of reminders tomorrow, World Blockchain Roundtable that's tomorrow, right? Yeah, Thursday. Every Thursday, potentially not the following week because Thanksgiving. Maybe we'll do it on Wednesday. I haven't made a decision on that yet. But Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, that's show days, right? So Tuesday, there's Super Happy at 11 a.m. Eastern time. That's Dragon Chain updates. And that's really where the information is. If you're scouring LinkedIn and Googling, different things to see if you can find details, if you're on Twitter looking for info, there's stuff that you can find. There's public information about what is happening right now with Dragon Chain, and it's really interesting to look at. But honestly, once a week, if you watch Super Happy on Tuesday mornings, you're going to get a download of like all the big stuff. Especially if you have a specific question, you can just toss it in to the replies ahead of time, and it'll be hit on the show. So I would say, if you're interested in all on where Dragon Chain's going, what they're doing, how to get really good, reliable information on it that isn't running through speculators and it isn't running through a game of telephone with rumor mills and stuff like that, ask the question on the weekly show that's set aside for those questions. The CEO of the company makes it a point to pick up every morning and do a show and honestly do it pretty well and answer all the questions. Take advantage of that, because if you're researching, I'm not much of a speculator and day trader and stuff like that. I do watch the charts because it's fun to see all the numbers move up and down. But the best success I've ever had with that is to do so much research and get involved with the communities and with the companies that I think are doing interesting things to get to know what's going on, to get a feel for where they're headed and what they're, each team has a personality that can give you sort of a feel for, not only how serious they are about the technology, but also how effective they are as a team working together. And that varies dramatically. So I like, not investment advice, but I like to invest in people, humans that I understand, who I can get behind and support, and participate in the network, run a node, that kind of thing. But check out Super Happy on Tuesdays. Wednesday is this. I talk for at least an hour about things that you put in the reply section. And then I got a friend of mine I think's going to come on next time. He's down to do a podcast and stuff. So I'll see if I can get him up to come on next week. And then on Thursdays, there is, there's every other week on Thursdays, there's a governance call too. So there really is a lot, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Governance call every other week, not next week. And then World Blockchain at 11 every week. Not on Thursday next week. So yeah, middle of the week is pretty meaty. I will see everyone around. I'm going to close this down. And I'm going to go, let's see. It's Wednesday. Yeah, Wednesdays are interesting for me because it's my one, in the meat of the week. It's the time that I get like 4 hours in the middle of the day to do basically whatever I want, and I cherish that. So I'm going to go do that. It's probably going to be something related to gaming and blockchain, and then I can talk about it the following day on World Blockchain. So I'll see you around. Thanks again, everybody. Have a wonderful day. And I lost the advertisement I was about to play, but let's see. Where is it? Let's do roles of a denizen. So I'm going to do this video on the way out. It's going to go through some of the basic roles of a denizen. You can think of these of how you can make money, how you can earn MTR points. These are all sort of like loosely defined jobs that need to be filled. And if you learn how to do them effectively, then you can yield rewards for that. So that's what I'll play. See you around. Have a good day. Happy Wednesday.
Roles of a denizen. A content creator is a user that creates posts and is rewarded based on the quality of their content. A content evaluator is a user that helps assess the quality of content and enforces community standards. The evaluator is effectively taking part in a marketplace to curate content and is rewarded for early evaluation. A content consumer is a user that wishes to find and consume the most valuable content in a given subject area or within a community. A lair owner is a person holding tokenized ownership of all or part of a community lair. Owners are rewarded with a portion of all mining activity happening within their lair. Owners are incentivized to build the best community of content creators and evaluators.